Hi everyone, another TinkerCAD time. I'm gonna cover a few more features that are very much essential and very useful and helpful. That includes work plane setting by using these two options and copying an object by using two different ways, Control C, Control V, and Control D. Those menus are here. And another thing that I'm going to cover today, group and ungroup. And also, I'm going to talk about alignment function, which is one of the very essential features and tools in using TinkerCAD. So those are the items that I'm going to mention and explore today. All right, let's begin. First thing that I want to start, that is work plane setting. So if we go to this menu, bottom right, the settings, that brings up this dialog where we can change some settings related to work plane. The first thing that I want to mention is this one, show grids. This one is to on or off the tiny cells that we see behind this dialog box, right? So there is work plane, and that work plane has lots of tiny cells, right? So we can turn them off or on by toggling this option. Right below here is show shadows. When we bring in an object, whether or not it's gonna displace a shadow of it, we can on and off that setting by toggling this button. That is to give us more 3D look by enabling this option, show shadows. Right below here, I see zoom speeds. This is the option that we can adjust the speed of zooming in and zooming out just by adjusting the level of this slider bar. We can change the zooming speeds of the certain object. And also we can change the unit to another one. If I go ahead and click down this drop down menu, I see millimeters and inches and bricks. So I'm more familiar with millimeters, but I'm okay with inches. But specifically in this 3D modeling, I do highly recommend millimeters unit. And I believe other people, they recommend the same. Using millimeter unit, that would be better than inch units because it gives more accurate dimensions. Bricks, when we design Lego type shapes, we use bricks, but I don't think I have a chance to use this one in my tutorials, and I don't know, maybe in near future I may design 3D Lego pieces, but at this moment I have no plan to use this one, but just I'm mentioning, okay, the bricks. All right, right below here is another option, which is presets. Presets, that is to set the work plane, I mean 3D printing bed, the bed side there, right? Where we actually 3D print. That is to determine the 3D printing bed size. So if I pull down the menu here, I see different models of actual 3D printers. Let's say I have a 3D printer with this company, Dreamer 3D20. If I go with this option, it automatically adjusts the bed size, the 3D printing bed size, right? It comes with around 150 millimeters and around 230 millimeters, right? So you guys can pick one of these, and if there is no 3D printer that you have, then click on custom and then change the number to fit your printer, 230 millimeters, and say this one, but not like it this way, just for a demonstration purpose, 120 millimeters, so on. I'm gonna go back to TinkerCAD's preset, which is 20 centimeter by 20 centimeter. In millimeters, 200 millimeters and 200 millimeters. All right, let me go ahead and explain this one, snap grids, which is set for 1 millimeters, right? So what that means, I have a 3D object here, and I'm gonna go ahead and zooming in, all right? So I want to move it to the right size, and I'm gonna hit the keyboard's right arrow, and whenever I hit the keyboard's right arrow, it goes to just one cell, right? One tiny cell, which is 1 millimeter. If I set to 5 millimeters, it's gonna jump to the right side 5 steps. So one stroke and another stroke like that way, right? And set to 2 millimeters to move this corner right here. So now 2 millimeters and set for 5 meters. And if I stroke 2 times, this edge will be here, right? So 1 and 2. So this is useful when we manipulate, especially movements actions that we need to do more accurately and easy, rather than move an object by using a mouse. Just using keyboard would be easier and convenient than using a mouse. Okay, so that's snap grids. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and explain copying an object. Say I want to copy of this object, just like 2 copies. Then easily what we can do, Control C, right, and Control V. This is kind of world standards in copying something else, right? Text and whatever we need to make a copy, we do Control C and Control V, right? When we use MS Word or whatever software, it goes well. And Control V again, right? It creates another copy and another copy like that way. And then we arrange all the items that we need, maybe like that, something like that, right? Like this. That's the next step. And then maybe we adjust the length in between the 2 shapes. Maybe we count and measure the distance like that way. So this is one way that we can copy an object, right? By using Control C, Control V, which is this, right? Control C, and this is Control V. And if I move my mouse cursor over this one, it displays Control D, which is duplicate and repeat. Duplicate, that's copy, right? And repeats, and I will show you guys what that means. Duplicate and repeat. Okay, so let me go ahead and delete these 3 objects. So this is the original object. Let's say the project that I have to do, that is to place this, not that one, Control Z. So what I have to do is Control V and then place this copied object exactly, just looking at the unit, this one is a 10, right? The 10 millimeters, right? So 10 millimeters away from the last point here, and then I need to do again here 10 millimeters away from the previous object, right? So let's say that's my task that I have to do quickly, and I will show you guys how I can do that by using Control D, which is duplicate an object, right? So what I'm gonna do, select this object and then click on this duplicate, right? So one object that duplicate is and locate is exactly inside the original object. And what I did, I grabbed the copied object, right, the duplicated object, and brought it and located at this location. That's what needs to do, right? And I need to make another copy and place that one 10 millimeter away from the second object, and so on. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go ahead and hit Control D, right? Press down Control and hit D on the keyboard, right? So Control D, right? And I'm gonna just hit Control D again, and again, and again. It repeats, right? Which means whenever I copy a new object, it has the previous parameters of change. In other words, Control D, that keeps applying for the next object the parameters that I change it, that I apply, right? That keeps applying the parameters of the change that I made in the previous task. Okay, so it was much easier and faster, right? Rather than using Control C and Control V. All right, so I'm gonna hit Control Z just to go back to the original setting. So what I'm gonna do this time, I'm gonna make a tower. I'm gonna make a tower by using Control D. So the tower is something like this, okay? So Control D, and then by using this translation point, the handler, move it over, right? And then, I need to zooming out, and then place it at 20 millimeter high. And then I do Control D again, Control D, and all the way up, like this. Right? Very fast. Okay? Alright, and I will show you another demo. That's Control D and click Home button, right? So what I'm gonna do this time, I'm gonna change the size as well, not only the height, the location up there. I'm gonna change the size as well, right? So I'm gonna click this and then Control D, and this time I'm pressing down the key Alt, okay, Alt key. I'm pressing down and I tweaking the size, right, to be something. Uh, let's say this one is something. Uh, let's go with just 10 by 10 this time, okay? So 10 by 10 and bring it over here. Um, I can change the dimension of the size without pressing down the Alt key, but watch the difference with and without Alt key. Alt key, that changes the dimension based on the center point. So if you guys look at this, right, all the other sides of the numbers, that changes based on the center point. Without Alt key, without pressing down Alt key, just two directions, right? Either, say, if I show you guys either this way, right? So either X and Y, that size. So this size, that's never been changed on this side, right? But if I press down Alt key, it's based on center piece, right? All the four directions, that changes based on the center piece, okay? So I need to go back to the previous setting, but I need to do it again because I touched the numbers, okay? So I need to go back to the first action, which means I need to start over for what I wanted to make. So click this object, right? And then Control D, and that's copied exactly at the same spot. And I want to change the size, okay, by pressing down Alt, right? And I'm gonna grab here to change the number to 1010, right? And then bring it up here, all the way up at 20, right? And then what I'm gonna do, Control D again. Oh, I deselected the object, so that didn't work, okay? So let me go back to the previous setting. All right, so nothing there, right? Oops, Control I. All right, so here, let's zoom in again. It's live, I don't have any script, guys, so sorry about that. All right, so select this one, Control D, that's copy it. Actually, that's a duplicate, right? And pressing down Alt key and change the size a little bit. Maybe the same size, okay, 10 by 10, and bring it over here, right? Or a little bit over, a little bit up, okay, 20, right? And then I do Control D, all right? So that applies the changes for the next object, and Control D again, right? And Control D again, all right? So we can create this kind of object that has a certain patterns, right? The certain patterns. So that's how we can use Control D, okay? Control D. And now we have an idea, right? What this means, duplicate and replace. Now we have better idea what that means, duplicate and repeat, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and hit Control Z just to go back to the previous setting. Now I'm gonna talk about group and ungroup, okay? Say we have this one, say this one, the length, right? So that's say 30, and what happened, right? Okay, I don't know, something happened, maybe. What? All right, so let me bring in a brand new just 3D object, right? So click here, and I'm adjusting its size to be 50 millimeter width, right? Wide, and this one is a 30 millimeters deep, which is length, right? Like that. And then say we have this object. So what's the size? Indeed, this one is a 30, right? So I change this one to be, this one is a 30, right? And I want to say, let me change the width as well. This one, say, this one is a 32. And I want to make this kind of shape, okay? That means something like horizontally, there is a solid line there, and then like a curved shape like this, right? And that goes back like a name tag, right? But these are two pieces, right? So these are two pieces, but I want have these two pieces as just one solid piece. How to do it? Just select them all, and then go to this menu, this feature, group, and click that one. And now this is just one solid object. Okay. Now, whenever we see a certain object, and if you want to check whether or not it is one solid object from an external CAD file or from a certain pre-modeled file, just simply click that one and check this spot. If either this or this that's enabled, like highlighted like this way, that means this one is built with more than one piece. So highlighting like this way, that means this one has more than one piece. So we check that one. So click that and click on this ungroup, right? And see, so there are two objects. And let me go ahead and Control Z. So these are, I mean, this shape has more than two different shapes. Just checking like this, right? And also, we can regroup, right? So select them all and then click on this group. And also we can check the color of that one single object at this moment, right? So to green or pink. And also we can change the size all together at the same time because this is just one single piece now, okay? So here, like 10 millimeters, 1 centimeter, like that way. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and explain this one just as an addition, and then I'm gonna wrap up today's tutorial. Say I'm making a name card. No, it's a say name tag. Okay, so name tag. So we can add something here. Any text. Say K. Oh, let's say hi. Okay, so we change the value to hi. All right. And I want to bring it over here, just display these letters high on the surface of this one, right? And you guys know that how to do it, right? So there are different ways. Just we manually align like that way, or using using the alignment function. Oh, I'm sorry, that's what I was going to do, right? Yeah, align function. Okay, so let's do that. So the goal is to have these letters, okay, in the middle of this object, right? So that's the goal. Like I mentioned, we can do that manually, right? Manually, maybe we bring in the power of this ruler, right? And that's gonna help a little more. Say the high, the letter is here, and we check, you know, how far these letters away from the origin and from this object. Yeah, we can get more information with the rulers, right? But this time, what we're gonna do, we're gonna use this alignment function. So grab them together and then click this alignment function, right? So that means we can align these two objects, the letter object and shape object, based on these points. So there are the lot of black dots. So this means if I click this dot, that's gonna align the letter object and this name, did I say name tag? All right, this shape object based on this line, So if I hover my mouse cursor here, right, it gives me the preview of the alignment. Say, okay, so like that way. Let me go ahead and click on this. So that's aligned here, okay? These two objects are aligned based on this line. So what I'm gonna do next, maybe like that. I don't see any other alignment point. Maybe here, this one, but this one doesn't work. Oh, this one works, okay? So, and I see the gray dots somewhere here, right? But actually that doesn't work, but this one works. If I click this, the circle here, that's gonna bring this, the shape to this line, and also bring this letter object to this line as well. So these two objects will move to this line. All right, so let me go ahead and click this like that. So now the letter object and the shape object, that's aligned together, but slightly to the right side, right? But we're gonna punch here to be a name tag. So rather than having this high object somewhere here, better to move to the left side. But in the case, manually we can do that. We know this snap grid function, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and switch this snap grid to 2 millimeters, okay? Then I'm gonna hit maybe 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times. Maybe one more time. Yeah, and check. All right, yeah, like that, all right? Okay, and then say this is a name tag that I want to attach it to my backpack or to a certain item. So it would be better if this name tag has a hole to be attached there, right? So what we can do, I'm going to bring in this cylinder object. Okay, so the cylinder object, that's 20 millimeter tall, right? And it's a size that's 20 by 20. So bring it over here like that, right? Maybe make it smaller a little bit, right? Okay, let's see. It's a size here. Check that. Check here. This one maybe 15 by 15. All right. Yeah, that's too small, but it's okay to explain the function of that one. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring it down slightly below like that, right? So we see I'm gonna press down the shift key and mouse right button so that I can bring it over here, right? If we see from this view, this is cylinder object that across the shape object, right? That's what I intended actually. Why? I will show you. So click this, and then we change its property from solid object to whole object. So what it does, whole is kind of cutter. Solid object, that's a solid piece. But whole object is not solid. It's kind of knife to cut or engrave. Okay, since this is cylinder object, that is a hole, and that go through all the way down here, right? So when I apply its function, that's gonna cut out like this way as a cylinder, as a whole, right? Then how we can group them together? So we make all the pieces as one single group, one single item, right? So solid object, let's say this is a plus, high object, this is another plus, right? So not gonna be changed. Plus and plus, just merge them together, just combine them together. That's it. But this is a plus object, this is a minus object. That means minus object will cut out its portion, which is the cylinder shape, right? So we see, okay, I touch all the items to select them all, and then here, right, group them together. So group them together. Yes, that cut out the cylinder shape like this, okay, which means we made a hole. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit Ctrl Z, right, and then I'm gonna turn out this high object, right, as a whole just by pressing down this. Now high object, I mean the letter object, that's a knife too. Now the letter object and cylinder object, they are minus objects, which means when I group them all together with this shape object, they're gonna cut out their shapes. But just to make sure to cut out their shapes, like I made the cylinder shape a little longer, right, so that it goes down all the way, I'm gonna make the high letter object a little taller so that it can cut out completely. So click that object. Let's see whether or not which one was it clicked. So this, and then and then bring it over here like that, right, and change its height like that way, and make it make it longer on this side and bring it down so that it goes all the way down like that, right? Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and combine all the objects as a group to be one single object and see what's gonna happen. Yes. All right, so that's the name tag or keychain with the name high. And definitely we can change each color to another color. And if we want to tweak the letter position and also the size of the hole, we go back to Ungroup, right? And we tweak its size to be a little bit bigger. This one maybe a little smaller, right? And also somewhere Control Z, and somewhere on this side like that way. Go back to home view, and we check from the top. Yeah, the previous one that was better, I guess, right? A little bigger, right? like that. Press down, and here we check. All right, and then group them together again. Boom. All right. So what we learned today, the way that we can, the way that we can change the work plane setting by using these two settings and snap grid, right? And the way that we can copy an object by using Control C, Control V, and there was another way, right? Control D, by using Control D, that comes with all the parameter settings. And we can make a group, we can make it ungroup, and also we can align more than one object uh, based on certain alignment points, which is this one, align function. And also we talked about whole shape function, which is being used to cut out, like this example. Like another example is this one. All right, that's all for today. Thanks for watching my TinkerCAD tutorial. I'm gonna see you guys with another TinkerCAD tutorial very soon. And if my video helps you learn any level of 3D modeling with the TinkerCAD, please hit the like and subscribe my videos. Thank you very much again, and see you next time.